mean, every time I see that beauty queen, those poses, like with the attitude.
Welcome. Happy New Year.
Welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome to season 2 of Mentali-Tea. How exciting.
Very much so. Let me free my hands up.
Yes,
You know what I'm doing over
I
here.
know exactly what you're doing over
It
there.
is February. And in
Yes.
addition to everything else that we have going on, it's also National Crochet Month. So,
Crochet queen over here. If I'm not mistaken, that is something that you started doing during the pandemic, correct?
I did. I probably started crocheting when I was in grade school. I remember making collars and booties for the cat.
Oh God.
But I couldn't make anything other than that. I couldn't make anything bigger than a pot holder. That was a coaster pot holder. That was
Yeah.
it. But thanks to YouTube, you know,
You gotta love YouTube.
and all my lovely crochet friends online, I learned how to do a lot of things during the pandemic. So now I can make scarves. Uh, I made a blanket, leg warmers, fingerless gloves,
Blanket.
um, headbands.
Nice.
I made a swim dress.
Really?
Yes, really, swim dress,
Oh,
which means the sweater is next. I didn't do
nice.
it over the holidays, but I'm ready for the sweater. If I can do a swim dress, all it's missing is sleeves. I can do that.
Yes.
I can't think of what else. I'm sure it's something else, but that is quite enough.
Well, that is
Face
quite
scrubbies.
enough. That is quite a list.
Got face
Oh,
scrubbies.
yes. Face scrubbies.
Yeah.
That work very well, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so
They,
kind.
they exfoliate nicely.
Yes. Pure cotton.
Yes.
So.
Well, it's been
Awesome.
a few months, but it's gone
Yes.
fast. We have so much to catch up on. What are you drinking tonight?
Oh,
What's your
tonight
tea
I'm
tonight?
well, first check out the mug.
Yeah.
Oh, please. There
There it
you
goes. There
go.
it goes.
All right.
Ah,
Miss
yeah.
Royalty International Pageant,
Mhm.
where I will be headed to exactly 1 week from now. I'll be in Atlanta
In
at the Miss Royalty
Atlanta.
International Pageant. Tonight I am drinking Yogi. I'll be taking a chance,
We
Yogi's
love
tea
yogi. Oh,
tonight
the
is
mystery drum roll.
whoop,
Hey, sweet lemon
sweet
everything.
lemon everyday immune.
Love it.
Because you
That's
know what
perfect.
season it is.
Oh,
Have
we
you looked
know.
out of the window today?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You better keep your immune
Listen.
system powered up.
Yeah.
You have
Uh-huh.
to.
Yeah.
You have to. Let's see, has it cooled off yet? What are you sipping?
Uh well, first of all, this is my
Mm.
mug.
Ooh,
Because I
Hakuna
got
Matata.
to go see The Lion King when it was in town, and this
Whoop
mug
whoop.
is oh my gosh, that show was incredible.
I love that mug.
But I love this mug, and we all know what Hakuna Matata means.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
Yes, and I
It's
thought
your
that was
forever free.
perfect.
Hey, philosophy.
And oh,
Matata, Hakuna.
I thought I lost my bag,
Yeah.
my thing.
What's in the mug?
Yogi as well,
Come
and
on,
it's
Yogi. Also,
elderberry lemon balm immune and stress.
I don't have that one. Sounds
Wasn't
interesting.
it is? Let me tell you what. I love
Tell me
this
what.
tea. This tea is great. It helps me sleep. To be
This
honest
is
with
really
you,
good.
yeah. I mean, I don't put anything in it. I drink it straight up. You know how I feel about my elderberry.
You don't no
And
honey, no splash of
no,
sweetener.
no, it tastes just beautiful to me,
Okay,
just in its natural
okay,
form. And
okay.
you know, like I was telling you, after dodging it for 3 years, cousin COVID caught up to me,
Dum dum
and
dum.
the whole family went boom, 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 boom. But thankfully it was very, very mild. It was just like a bad cold, or not a bad cold, just an annoying cold. But yes, keep that immune system up, you guys.
I really feel like we've all had it, whether we knew it or not. I feel
Yeah.
like every one of us has had COVID
Yeah.
at some point, and may have not been diagnosed. It may have been right before
Yeah.
the pandemic started, but
Yeah.
I really feel like it's hit everybody's household.
This was the first time, like if I had it before, nothing came up on the test. This was the first time it actually showed up on the test, and I was in denial. So I took a second test and that came up positive. I was like, you know what? I'm the one who's the most careful in the house, and what the hell? But here we are. But it's all good. Now we've had it. Now we can continue on with life and up our immune system. So
yeah. Yes. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy New Year.
All the
Happy
stuff.
Valentine's. Happy Love Month.
Love.
And everything else that goes with it.
Yes. We got lots of fun stuff this month.
Oh, yeah.
Where would you like to start? We've got like all the things.
I mean, everything is heavy. So, both of our topics are pretty heavy hitters.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like you should kick it off,
okay.
Especially because that first topic is very personal for you.
Whew, it is, y'all.
I saw you pull that box of tissues out. Let's just dig in.
Okay.
Dig on into that. And then I'll give you a little break with the second one. And then,
and then we'll wrap it up with those wellness tips. Well, all right. So it's kind of and I don't want to say poetic, but I did have a moment today. And another thing, y'all, I have a shirt on. It says, "See the good in every day." So one of the fun things that happened while we were on break is I got chosen to be a brand ambassador for SAD, which is Stay Another Day. And awesome. They are a nonprofit organization that wants to bring, obviously, more mental health awareness. They also deal a lot with the suicide prevention. And this is just
semicolon.
And so this is just one of the many shirts you're going to see. The other awesome, cool thing about their shirts is printed on the underside, either in the seam on the bottom here or on the sleeve, is 988.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes. So I will probably wear.
And tell us what 988 is.
988? Thank you for asking, Angel. I'm so glad you asked that question. 988, for those of you who don't know, is the new suicide prevention hotline where you can text.
Yes, you no longer have to dial 1-888-273-TALK. You don't have to do that.
988. Three simple numbers.
Suicide prevention. I'm rocking my Hope shirt from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I have been a field advocate since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Bryson.
Hey, Bryson.
Cheers.
Cheers, girl. I already know this.
That is really good. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're happy with this tea.
Yes, very much so. Yogi is doing all right. I'm expanding, though.
I'm just saying, Yogi, if you want to sponsor us,
that would be great, because I'm sure you have some we haven't tried.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I have like boxes of different Yogis in my pantry. So Yogi, if this makes it to you and you want to sponsor our show,
great.
Please.
Otherwise, I'll drink something else next month. Definitely.
We'll move on to Tazo. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, do you know I got Tazo?
Sure you do. Okay, so as some of you may or may not know, National Eating Disorder Awareness Week happens in February, and this year it's happening kind of late in February. Thank you, darling. Digging the lipstick on the right side and the hair on the other. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So he's liking my lipstick in your hair. Is that what
that works for me?
I'm okay. That works. But the National Eating Disorder Awareness Week falls February 27th through March 5th. And it's a little, like I said, I don't want to say poetic, but it was a little ironic that I had a moment today. So I had a physical, let's go to the doctor, and you turn, your age, whatever. And
Your age is
it's forever
40 something
25
else.
or forever 25. That's what we go with.
Oh, I'm sorry, you went down.
Yeah, we go there. We go down. Go down a couple 20 years. Anyway,
I don't want to go back.
and so like one of the things that they teach you, the number one thing they teach you when you're in rehab for an eating disorder is you don't look at numbers. You don't look at the scale. You don't look at the nutrition facts on food. Numbers are the
calorie
devil.
counting.
Correct. Calorie fat. None. Oh, and before I get into this disclaimer, some of what I say may be triggering for people who have dealt with eating disorders. So just putting that disclaimer out there. Anyway, so numbers are the devil. Like you don't look at numbers. So I've been out of rehab for 15 years now. And I went to the doctor today. Thank you. And I eased myself back into looking at numbers over the years, and it's been fine, whatever. Today, I decided to look at the scale.
Oh.
And normally I don't freak out. Today I did. And I'll tell you.
How long has it been since you looked at a scale?
Oh God, it's been at least a year. Like I don't ever look at the scale unless I'm at the doctor's office. So it's been a year.
So what freaked you out about it?
The number. And the thing of it is, the reason why is because over the last few months, I've been really struggling with my body image. Like just really just, having underhanded comments from certain people in my life who will go nameless. Exactly. Drink that tea. Underhanded comments. And it's like, just having that in my head and then seeing that, it was just like, so I had a moment. I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting for her to come in, and I just started crying. Because I was like, okay. Then I started taking deep breaths, and I started trying to reframe my thoughts, because that's another thing we learn and we're taught is to reframe your negative thoughts to be a positive thought. And it took a moment, to be honest. But I worked through it. Am I feeling 100%? No. But I haven't had a moment like that in a really long time. And so I have a TikTok, and I'm trying to make my TikTok more mental health focused. And so I told the story. I brought it up on I put it in TikTok, and they said I violated some community guidelines and took it down. So I appealed it, of course, because I'm like, there's nothing on there. There's worse stuff on TikTok that I've seen. So I posted it on my Facebook page, and I said, TikTok told me blah, blah, blah. What do you guys think? And every comment I got was very supportive, very positive. And then there's that one person, that one comment. And it's like, well, it's too much information. Just my opinion. Don't hate. Okay, that's your opinion. It's like, I'm never going to hate you for giving me your opinion.
Too much information or triggering information?
They said too much information. And the way I said it was not to be triggering at all. I really watched what I said and how I said it. But eventually TikTok did end up putting it back up, because they looked at it and like, oh yeah, okay. So there's really no, I think they look at like the hashtags and the keywords, and maybe that's what flags it. And then when they actually go and watch the video, it's like, oh, okay, you're good. But the thing of it is, and this is something that's always bothered me, is I feel like if we're trying to bring awareness and if we're trying to help, we have to talk about it. We have to make it seem like it's too much information, because if I had someone like me experience that back when I was going through it, and I saw that, And I'd be like, oh my gosh, so I'm not alone. Someone
Hmm.
else is going through the same thing. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's that relatability. And,
And you
and
might
something
be in recovery 25 years instead of 15.
exactly. And my other thing is when, you do talk about your experience and you bring up a moment and it's like people like, oh, why are you making this about you? And it's like, no, I'm not trying to make this about me. You're telling me what's going on, right? And I'm listening, and all I'm doing is giving you an example of I went through something very similar. This is how I worked through it, just to
Hmm.
kind of help. But like the thing of it is, we've gotten so to the point where it's like, well, you can't tell people that just listen. It's like, yes, I'm listening. I'm listening to you first. I'm taking in everything you're saying, but I also want to make sure I can relate to you and relate to your situation. Especially if you're coming and asking me for advice or asking me my thoughts. It's like, how can I give you that honesty if I'm not
Yeah,
being honest completely? You know what I mean?
I do. And for
Um,
a lot of women, support is equal to somebody saying, you know what, me too. And
right.
this is my story. And if
Yeah.
it's not you too and you don't have a story, your support looks different
Right.
because you might be able to understand, but you can't necessarily relate. It's
Right.
two different
See,
things.
like Melissa, my experience and your experience is different, but I can relate if that, yes, it
That's the
totally makes
word, relate. Can you relate?
relate. Exactly. Relatability is so important if you're going to bring awareness and if you're going to try to help somebody. Because
Hmm.
if you don't have that relatability, then it's like now you're talking about yourself for no reason. You know what I mean? But it's just finding that common ground. So when it's too much information, I don't. Maybe it's like some people are just shocked that someone could be so vulnerable or open
Hmm.
themselves up so much. Maybe that's an old school way of thinking, but I feel like that's what's needed nowadays, to have that vulnerability, to open yourself up so that people know they're not alone. Because to be honest with you, until I relapsed in my early mid 20 whatever, I thought I was alone. And then I went into rehab and I saw all these other people going through the exact same thing. You know what I mean? And not many people are lucky enough to get to that point of
Yeah,
being in rehab.
you're right. You're right.
So if you've experienced that and you can offer it up for free and open yourself up so people feel like they're not alone, then do it. Like, you know what I mean? If you're comfortable with it, you know? Um, but I know we were talking, I was telling you about my experience and how I came to have an eating disorder. So when I was younger, I was bullied. I was bullied and always told, like, from first grade on, that I was called the F word, the
Mm.
three-letter F word that we don't like to say. Um, and it just like, and even in my family, in the culture, in the Middle Eastern culture, it's like, you need to eat. Oh,
Mm.
you're eating too much, but no, you need to eat, 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 eat. No, no, no. You know what I mean? So it's like a constant.
I hear that's a lot that's prevalent in Hispanic culture as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
for sure.
food is love. Or you're
Yes,
showing love through food, but they
yes,
still don't
yes,
ride you.
yeah, right. So, hearing that over time, then you start to believe it, right? So by the time I got to high school, I mean, when I was a freshman in high school, I came back because I moved to Arizona when I was just graduated eighth grade. So I did high school out there, but I would spend my summers back in Chicago with my friends and family. And when I was a freshman in high school, my family sent me to Weight Watchers. I was not even, I was like 14 and they put me in Weight Watchers. And that was the start of it. That was the start of the downward spiral. And then when I finally moved back to Chicago, I connected with some of my old grade school friends on Facebook, whatever, and we did like a little reunion. So at that point, I was like I was in my relapse at that point. And my relapse, but going to rehab. So it was kind of that in between point. But I came face to face with all those people that used to make fun of me. I
Mm.
came face to face with them and I said to them, I'm like, you know what? I said, the way you guys spoke to me caused me to have an eating disorder. You say I look good and I look great. I said, but there's a cost to what I look like right now. And it's because of what you guys would say back in the day, that got me here. And they're like, man, we're so sorry. And they're like, but just know you never really were big. We just knew that it would make you cry. And we wanted to see you cry because we knew you were an easy target.
Mm.
Because I was a very sensitive kid, very sensitive. I mean, I would cry at the drop of a hat, you know? And so it's like, that is so crappy. You know what I mean? And it's like, really understand how much weight your words carry. Like,
No
how
pun
much,
intended.
right? Yeah, no pun intended. But your words and the way you say and what you say, especially when you're a kid, it's like, you don't understand that person's going to take that personally, and you don't know where that's going to take them in life. I mean, and to do it just to get a kick, just to get a rise, just to see someone cry, not realizing the mental toll it's taking on them, and then now that's something they're going to carry for the rest of their life.
Mm.
I mean, look, I've been, again, out of rehab 15 years and I'm still having issues. I'm
I
still
don't think
having,
anybody thinks about the ramifications of that, of their
no,
actions still being effective 10
right.
years from now, 20
Yeah.
years from now. People
Hmm.
don't think about that. That does not come up.
Because it's all like, oh, we were kids, da, da, da. And it's like,
But that's when you're
that's when it
developing your
starts.
character, right? That's
Yes.
when you're assessing your identity and either you're adding or you're subtracting to
Yeah,
someone's identity and their image of themselves.
exactly. Exactly. And it takes its toll. And, that was another thing I was going to bring up because, I mean, we just had Love Day, whatever. Even though I think you should love your person every day of the year,
Every
not just
day,
one day
several
of the year.
times, every day.
I call Valentine's Day a Hallmark holiday, honestly. I really do. I do. Um, but it takes its toll because let's talk about sex. All right. We'll get salt and pepper involved here. All right. It affects that because it affects that because it's like, if you're so in your head and you think you just look, there's no amount of reframing you can do. I mean, and it's nice, your partner thinks you're gorgeous and everything, and it's like, that's great and I love you for that, but I'm feeling, ugh, and it makes it more difficult to make, want to give it to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know, you want to feel good. You know what I mean?
That's
And
true. And you take that to college. You
yeah,
take that to marriage.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, yeah,
you take that
yeah,
throughout your life. And now you have a partner, a husband, a wife who's dealing with your childhood trauma
right,
and they have no relation to it.
right. And it sucks, because, and I love my husband and I know he's watching and I'm not trying to put our business out there. I swear to God. But like, sometimes I feel bad for him because it's like, I just don't, I'm not comfortable in my skin, and it's unfair to deprive you, but at the same time, I'm that person that it's like, I have other traumas that don't deal with this, that I can't just be that submissive wife because that's not who I am, and that's a whole nother trauma. You know what I mean? And I just can't do that. And and I tease
Ooh,
him because it's like, the more you ask for it, the less I want to do it. It's like reverse psychology. You know what I mean?
welcome to the show.
welcome. But it's a downward spiral. It just goes further and further and further. And it's just like, when you don't feel comfortable or confident in your skin, it really doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody that you're close to, like, especially having two girls. I have two girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is so triggering sometimes, because it's like, when one decides, oh, I don't want to start getting picky about food or this, that, and the other thing, or they're starting to worry about the number on the scale. It's like, oh my God, it's like, it's all rehashing itself,
Right.
and it's like, okay, I need to find a way to be a mother, but not eating disorder Crissy that's going to freak out. You know what I mean? Like, I need to find that balance of, okay, let's talk reasonably, let's talk calmly, let's not do everything that people have done that you're like, that's not helping. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of mind work. It's a lot of mind work.
Yes.
And I do have some tips, like how Emmett gave us what he would like people to know about ADHD for those
Yes,
who
please do. Do you
don't
have
have it.
any statistics?
You know what I had?
What do you have?
I have. So
And I'm
I actually,
asking because, just like Melissa was saying, everybody's experience is different. Um,
yeah,
that was not part of my childhood experience.
yeah,
That was not a part of anybody's experience that I went to school with, that I knew about.
yeah.
So for somebody on the outside looking in, it's like, one, you're gorgeous. Two, you got a big booty, and you should have one. So good
Thank
job
you.
on that.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
it's
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is. I don't know. It's mind boggling to think about how harsh children are, and their
Yeah.
words, and how we carry them. And I got
Mhm.
I got some of my own stuff, but it didn't have anything to do with food.
Yeah.
So listening
Thank
to
you,
you, I'm
dear.
just wondering
Yeah.
how many other people see. He know. Um, but I'm
Oh,
just
Lord.
wondering, how many
Thank you.
people have actually deal with this. So give us the
Yeah.
facts. Give us the facts.
I
And
would,
thank
you know
you for
what? And
sharing your personal story. Thank you.
for
That was
sure.
very personal.
I will always share it with whoever wants to listen. I'm there. I was actually looking up relapsing,
Mm.
but let me go back in time
Not go back in
to,
time.
um,
Vic.
okay, well,
Wow.
clearly we know he's having a beer.
And his profile is perfect. Either way,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I did want to mention this, which I thought was so cool. Um, so NEDA, National Eating Disorder Awareness, it's, .org, they run all this stuff. They just started a new initiative this year, and it's going to be the week of October 23rd through the 27th, but it's going to be Body Acceptance Week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new initiative to promote body positivity and body neutrality and all of that stuff. And I thought that was really cool, because honestly,
Mm.
that's where we go.
Is that the same month as anti-bullying month, or is that November? I know it's around that time though, but
Um,
that's perfectly timed though, end of
I think
October.
so. I think so, because
Perfectly timed.
October, I think it is actually. I
Mm.
think it's around the same time. Um, Let me see. I saw a statistic. I had to pull it up. My eyes are. All right. So the helpline, so the National Eating Disorder Awareness Helpline has
Mm.
experienced a 107% increase in contacts since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Makes sense.
100, well, yeah,
Makes
because that is another reason why you already know, because you always tell me this, you're always doing something, you're always busy, you're always on the go. That has to do with my past with an eating disorder, because the longer I sit, the more I sit in those thoughts and
stress
those
eating.
feelings. And then that's why we're always on the go. We're always keeping ourselves busy. We're always doing something. So we don't have time
Mm.
to think of that. We don't have time to sit in those feelings or sit in those thoughts, those negative thoughts.
That's good to know. See that's helpful. That's helpful as a friend. Because I
That
tell you in a minute, please sit your ass. Sit down somewhere. You complaining
always.
about being tired and being busy, sit down somewhere. Well, if that's a coping mechanism
It is.
that you
It's a
stay
horrible
busy,
one.
then
It's a
me
horrible
telling
one.
you to sit down is not helpful, is it, Chrissy?
No.
No, it's not helpful.
I love you for it
So
because I
now
know
I
you're
have
coming
to
from a good place.
change, but now I need to change my language because I know that this you're doing this for a reason.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference
Yeah.
in how I respond to your busyness because I do want you to sit down and be still. But if that is a trigger,
It can be,
mhm,
it yeah, it is, because it's just like,
mhm.
I got to keep my mind off of it, keep my mind off of it. Um 28.8 million Americans experience an eating disorder at some point in their lives. That's
A lot.
mhm. Eating disorders have the second highest mortality rate of all mental health disorders.
You said
Surpassed
second highest.
Second highest, surpassed only by opioid use disorder.
Mm. So, what is considered an eating disorder?
Well, it can be. So I struggled with anorexia. So I would restrict, right?
Okay,
There's also bulimia, where you eat and
release,
release. There is binge eating,
purging,
binging and purging. There's also disordered eating.
and start.
And disordered eating is, when you're just kind of like all over the place. Like you kind of, you
A
don't
little bit of
have
everything, huh?
a little bit of everything. You're not, um, hold on. Ah, my notes. I'm trying to pull up my notes here. Hold on.
See, you over there being digital. See there?
I know. I swear. I really should just go. I need to just go back to being paper and pen. You know what I'm saying? Um, Disordered eating falls, like yo-yo dieting falls into that,
Mm.
preoccupation with food. When you're focused on the calories, the nutritional value, you know what I mean? The calories, the fats, and all of that stuff. Um, that is why, just irregular eating behaviors and just like that. That's why one of the first things they tell us, we cannot look at numbers. When we
Mhm.
started in rehab, they put us on the scale backwards. We had to weigh in every morning
Every
backwards.
morning.
Every morning we had to weigh in. And they
Mm.
wrote that number down.
So, what were they checking every morning to see if you were binge eating or to see if you were purging?
If there was any kind of significant change in
Wow.
numbers. Yes. Um, there was one time I had gone to my nutritionist, and my weight at one place was different than what it was there, and it looked like a very big dramatic dip. But I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and it just turned out that one of the scales was calibrated incorrectly, because she was ready to send me back to rehab and put me inpatient. Like, it was a significant enough amount, and I'm like, I started crying because I'm like, but I've been doing everything I'm supposed to do. There's no reason why there should be such a significant difference. But they did that. They weighed you every morning. So if there was any kind of dramatic change, it would be addressed. And if it resulted in, going inpatient, then you were going inpatient. I mean, it was the rehab that was needed for sure. But it was difficult. It was really, really difficult. And honestly, I felt like one of the oldest people in the room. And I was 25.
Wow.
There were girls from high school there doing the same program I was doing, having to do their homework and basically their schooling in the program because of it. And it wasn't just exclusive to girls. There were some boys there too. Some young men were there, but
I'm sure that's less common.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but it's just sad because it's like I can look at somebody and be like, okay, they're struggling with some kind of eating disorder.
Really? What are the tales? I'm picking your brain. What are the signs, Crissy? What are the signs and symptoms?
What are the signs? Well, honestly, I'll be honest. Like when we went to the ballet, and I will tell you, a lot of dancers will have eating disorders, especially ballerinas, because they have to maintain a certain look. But like when we went to go see the Nutcracker a couple of years ago, one of the main dancers, I was like, that girl is struggling because she literally was skin and bones. Like if you could start to see collarbones,
ribs,
if you could start to see the ribs, like if you could just like,
your whole clavicle.
Honestly, it's true. It's true. Especially the legs. The legs are very telling. If the legs are like little pencils, it's very telling. And it sucks because they're really far deep into it at that point. But yeah, you see it a lot in the dancer community.
I was fortunate in my dance experience. I spent 15 years dancing, choreography, traveling and teaching and performing.
Yeah.
They were mostly average size young ladies, every so often, if I go back to high school, of course, you had the slim gyms, not slim gyms, the slim gyms. And they were right. And they were in dance, but they were also the cheerleaders, the pom-pom track. So they did everything.
Right.
They did everything. But for the most part, average size. Just just about everybody was average size. I was typically the one with the biggest butt. It's like, no, I don't lay flat on my back. That will never happen. That's not gonna happen. But I did have mostly positive experiences, especially when I got to college. I went to arts college, so they look like me.
And that's the thing too. They can be average looking. Like I didn't look it. Like I wasn't skin and bones, but I had it. You know what I mean? So when you see someone who's skin and bones, they're very far gone into it. But someone could be just average looking and struggling at the same time. And you just won't know because they're really good at covering it up. Really good at covering it up. My whole thing when I relapsed, I was drinking a pot of coffee a day. I was literally drinking a pot of coffee a day.
You were living on caffeine?
I was living on caffeine. And if I ate a meal, it was probably one meal and it was dinner. And it wasn't even that much. And I was too busy because Monica was, I think, 2.5 at the time. So I was too busy with the toddler, making sure she was taken care of. And then at the same time, my grandmother was going into hospice for her Alzheimer's. So it all started and I did not know until I went into rehab. I did not know why I fell back into it and realized it was from depression and losing control. Most eating disorders happen because you've lost control of something in your life. And what is one thing you can control? What you put in your body, what you
Yep.
eat.
And what you get out.
hmm And
Yeah.
so when you start to lose control of something in your life, something that is very special to you, meaningful, my first thing was like, I can control what I eat, and I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that. I'm good. I'm making sure I have my
Feels
coffee.
powerful.
It feels powerful. You're taking control of something in your life unhealthily,
Hmm.
but you're taking control. And it's like, okay, I have control of something. This is good, and being a diuretic, and it just fills you up. I mean, you're not a coffee drinker, but
Nope.
that's where it was, and it was different because in high school, I had different things in high school. In high school, I was counting every single calorie and gram of fat going into my body. I was doing math down to the decimal. If I had even just one potato chip, I got very
I don't
obsessed.
even know what one potato chip looks like. One?
I literally one potato chip. I literally did the math down to the decimal to see what I was ingesting. I
Wow.
worked out excessively. If
Mm.
I had to eat, I was in my room for 2 hours with the radio blasting, dancing around for two
Wow.
hours. So it
Burning the
was
calories.
right. And so that was another thing. When I went into rehab, you could not exercise. They would not let you exercise. The only thing we did as part of therapy was like yoga therapy. That was the
Mm.
extent of it. We couldn't do anything aerobic, couldn't do anything that was going to get us sweating and moving and everything. Nope. It was yoga, very little movements and stuff like that, because that's also a symptom. And it's all these little things you don't really realize until you're in it, and then you read it somewhere and you're like, huh, okay.
I did
And
all that.
I check all those boxes.
Mhm.
And then let me pull up the website, but they do have a screening tool on the NETA website,
And what
which
does NADA stand for again?
National Eating Disorder Awareness, or Association, I should say.
Mhm.
National Eating Disorder Association. Um, and that would be nationaleatingdisorders.org. That's their website. But they do have a screening tool to start in people as young as 13 years old. And it just goes through a bunch of questions, and it gives you like, okay, either yes, you're on the path, or no, you're not. Um,
Does it work to screen someone else? Like if it was a parent that was trying to do a screening for their child?
I mean, they could, if they really feel like they can answer the questions truthfully. Um, but it's definitely something like you would want to have if you want to evaluate your child, yourself. Because it's like a lot of questions dealing with, okay, so how many days a week do you do this, or how many days a week do you think that? So
Mm.
you'd really have to be in tune with your kid to be able to do this for them. But honestly, it's very much similar to the intake questions at a rehab facility,
Hmm.
you know,
Okay.
minus taking the blood pressure and all of that stuff. Um, but it's definitely a good resource, and we'll put the website out there for you guys for sure. Let me see if I have any other.
Drop it in the comments if you can.
Yeah. Please ask questions and
Anybody
stuff.
watching, drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
NETA, National Eating, I'm sorry, DA.
NEDA.
NEDA, the
Yeah,
National Eating
eating
Disorder
disorder.
Association.
Yeah. And their website is nationaleatingdisorders.org. Um,
Wow.
but I did have a few tips
Go
on
ahead.
what to do, what not to do when you're dealing with somebody that you know has a history of an eating disorder. um,
We need this.
though
What not to do.
people though people come from a really good place on this, don't say it's just a number, or a number is just a number. Um, we know you're very well meaning. Thank you.
Thank you.
National disorders with an S. Sorry, Martha. Oh, let's give it up for Martha, by the
Woo
way,
woo.
our producer for the evening. Thank you. Um, but don't say it's just a number, because honestly, deep down inside of our heart of hearts, we know that. But this part doesn't. This part doesn't just see it as a number.
You
This
said
part,
numbers are the devil. Was that what you
they
said?
are. Numbers are the devil. Like,
Wow.
numbers are our enemy when you have an eating disorder. And if we could just look at a scale and say, oh, it's just a number, no big deal, then we wouldn't have the disorder we have, but we get so fixated, and it's like, oh no, that's not right. This is a big one. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
This is a big one for me, and it's hard because I do have a lot of people in my life who talk about it, but don't ask us for diet advice. Like, please.
Who was asking you that?
I love my husband, but he'll ask me sometimes. I'm like, honey, it's triggering for me. When it's like, what should I eat? How should I eat? Da, 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 and it's like, and the calories, and I'm like, I want to help you, but it's just, I can give you a path and a guide on what I learned when I saw my nutritionist. But beyond that, I can't. It's too triggering. It is too triggering. So if you know someone who has struggled with an eating disorder, please don't ask them for diet advice, and don't say, hey, I'm doing this program and you're guaranteed to lose like 10 pounds in like 3 weeks. Do you want it? It's like, no, don't do that either.
Because you might want to jump on that.
And it could just downward spiral.
That
That's another thing.
Spark a relapse.
Yes, exactly. It's like, we don't do the D word. We don't do the D word. That's why when people started doing this fasting thing, oh man, when people would say I fat, and like, to me, that's like, you're literally setting
yourself food restriction.
Exactly. You're setting yourself up for an eating disorder. And that's how it starts. You train your body to not be hungry. And eventually you're like, oh, I could go all day without eating. This is easy. I don't need to eat. And then eventually you realize, oh, I haven't eaten in like 3 days. You know what I mean? So fasting.
I don't know what you.
Yeah, no. When people tell me
3 days,
no. But like, when people tell me to do that fasting thing, I'm like, that is so. I don't even know who came up with that, and
I
who
don't
thought
know,
that
but
was a good idea.
that's definitely a churchy thing. If you grew up in church, it was always fast around Lent.
Oh, yeah.
What's today? Today, no, Tuesday, Fat Tuesday just passed. So, Mardi Gras, Lent season starts. That was the fast that I grew up with. I grew up in the Catholic Church, so that was that. But, going to other churches, other denominations, top of the year, everybody's trying to do a Daniel fast or something else.
But so whoever came up with that diet, such a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
I remember 21 days was probably the longest that I went, with eating once, and then it was like no food between 12 and 12 or something, or it was whatever, it was like certain hours. And I remember I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to remember. I know we did one in high school, and nobody told me the fast was over. This is what
Oh
mom
no.
asked me one day, you know, why are you not eating? I'm like, are we still fasting? She's like, what? Nobody told me it was over. But I had
Yeah.
trained my body at that point
Right.
to not be hungry, to
Mm-hmm.
only eat once a day. It didn't matter, you know, I wasn't trying, it wasn't for weight loss. But of
Right.
course, that's kind of what happens.
Right.
So once you start looking good and fitting in those pants you haven't fit in 10
Right.
years, it's like, hey, let's keep
Hey,
this
I'm just
going.
exactly.
And then you
Exactly.
break one day and it's like, I'm eating all this. And then you feel sick because you haven't
Yes.
had regular
Yes.
food. I get
Yes.
it. I get it. I get it.
That was a big thing. So when I went into rehab, they had us eating right when we got there. We would have to have like breakfast. Then we would have to have a mid-morning snack. Then we would have to have lunch. Then we would have to have an afternoon snack.
Child, that sound like Herbalife.
And we had to eat everything. Like we had to eat 100% of our food because if we didn't, they would supplement us with Ensure. And if we did that
Really?
more, yeah. And if we didn't eat our food, if there was like, I think it was 2 times in a row or 3 times or whatever, you automatically went inpatient.
Wow.
They were not messing around.
Clearly. They're
And the
pumping you with
thing,
Ensure.
and the thing is, the nutritionist, you meet with a nutritionist and they give you a list. Like it tells you, okay, you have to eat one of these in each, like for your snack, or one of these for your meal. And it comes down to like a carb, a fat. It doesn't tell you the quantity. It just tells you how much, like how many items of each,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me a long time for my body to adjust to that because anytime I ate more than I had ever eaten, I felt like I needed to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the time after lunch where the first day where it finally felt like I didn't have to. And we were meeting in group and they're like, okay, what's some good things that happened today? And I said, today's the first day I didn't feel like I had to after eating. I mean, that was a huge victory. But because you train your body to go without and then you start to put it back in, it's like your body's like, what are you doing? This is a shell
Exactly.
shock. Um, and then another thing is don't tell somebody who's going through an eating disorder to just eat. That's like telling somebody with depression, just get over it. Don't do that, please. Don't do that, please. Because it's like you think it's
Yeah,
that
that doesn't
easy.
work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's
Why
like
this is a disorder. It's not a choice.
exactly. It's not I mean, right. I mean, it's like if I could do that, I would do that. However,
It's a disorder.
it's a disorder. Like I will say do acknowledge our feelings. Do acknowledge when we're having our moment of like I just, of tears or just like I feel like this today or that today. And do help us reframe our thinking if we ask you to. Like if you can do it in a positive way to reframe without sounding judgmental or being like, all knowing, just reframe it. Help us reframe from the negative to a positive,
Mm.
you know. And just be supportive. That's it. Just be supportive. We can't, I know a lot of people say, I wish you could see yourself through my eyes and you would see how beautiful you are. And it's like, that is great. But all that is to us is just words. You know
Sounds
what I
good,
mean?
but I can't.
Right. Because, like, to us, it's like, I love you for saying that. It's so sweet of you, but my brain does not register. It does not compute, it does not exist in here. And that honestly is having the body image issues and body dysmorphia or body distortion issues, is one of the reasons why I love Lizzo so much, because that girl, she loves herself. She has embraced herself. She takes care of herself. That girl is vegan. She works out. She is always doing something, and she embraces her body, and people hate on her so much. And like, I can't believe she's wearing that. She's a big girl. And it's like, you know what? Again, why can't she? Why have we as a society said only skinny Barbie dolls can wear certain things? You know what I mean? That's, again, where this all comes from. Society has built such what a woman should look like, but yet we haven't done that to the men. I mean, we know sometimes we're like, oh, that man looks good, but you can't tell me that if you see a man that's got like a little teddy bear thing going on, she's like, oh, he's hot too. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we don't do that, right? Like, we don't put that on the men.
I do. No. I also need a beard.
But as a society,
you should also
know what
be
I mean?
bald. No.
Listen, Vic will tell you all the time. He doesn't know how we're together because my taste is tall, bald, and black, and he is not any of those things except tall, bald. So
there is nothing else left in my cup, but I'm gonna sip to that. Oh my goodness.
He will tell you, like, how are we together? I am not even your flavor.
You got
Society has to normalize a size 7. Yeah. Hell, society needs to normalize size 14, 16.
The average 20. Woman is a size 12 to 14.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Marilyn Monroe? Marilyn Monroe was a size 14, and everyone loved her. So why? That's what I'm saying. Like, we've normalized little skinny, itty, mini Barbie dolls, but like, I think, how Lizzo brings herself, she's trying to help normalize bigger girls. And you know what? To be honest, it helps. Like, 'cause she's so confident in herself and she loves herself. And that helps. It really does. So when people come at her, I got into a conversation with my mom at one point, and I was like, just don't talk bad about her. I cannot, because for me, about Lizzo, not my mom, that's a whole different story. But for me, she makes me, like, if I look at a video of hers or if I hear her doing some kind of like motivational speaking, it's like, yes, like, you're incredible. And the fact that you just like don't even listen to your haters.
Yeah, Jessica.
Big girl with an actual stomach, not these. Right.
Listen, and you know what? That is why. That's one reason why this right here, this pageant. That's one reason why Miss Royalty International is so different. Our focus is, our mission is on diversity and inclusivity.
Yeah.
Just like the model icon brand that owns it. Models that go on that runway look like women.
Right, exactly.
All colors, all sizes, all heights. You'll see 4 feet 2, and you'll see 6 foot 2. It doesn't matter, and I was so proud when we did the pageant in 2021, because our Queen's Court is so colorful. It's so diverse.
Yeah.
There is so many ages. We added the plus size division. We added the 60 and up division. That was not, a normal thing in regular standardized pageantry. If you go to a plus size pageant, that's different. No, we added that.
Right.
So, it means something to be a part of those types of movements.
Right. It does.
Where everybody is recognized for their talent, for their abilities, for their passion, for what is, what it is beauty that they're doing, their purpose, their platforms, and not what size their dress is.
Right.
That made a huge difference. So I'm excited about going.
Yeah. And it does make a huge difference because, like I said, growing up, being picked on because I was overweight because I wasn't the little skinny mini. And so you get that beat into your head
Conflict.
enough, and not just from people at school, but from your own family. You
It
know what
makes
I
it
mean? It's
worse.
like, so where do I escape that? Where do I
Mhm.
get to have a safe place to not feel that way? And so then it evolves into this. So that's why, I find, you know, especially to our girls, like my youngest, she's 12. She'll be 13. Jasmine's going to
Oh
be
my
13 this year.
gosh.
I know. I know. Isn't that crazy? But like I took her for her checkup last year, and she looked at the scale and she started bawling her eyes out because she thought she was too heavy. And I'm like,
Who
baby,
told you how much you're supposed to weigh?
exactly. And I looked at her and I said, first of all, you are all muscle. I said, you've been doing karate since you were 7.
Come on,
I said,
black
you are
belt.
big, athletic. I said, you are so athletic. You are all muscle, and muscle's gonna weigh more. You know what I mean? And honestly, our doctor, I absolutely love her because she sat in that room with Jasmine for 20 minutes. And I swear to God, I wish I had her as my doctor, even though she's like my age, so it would have been possible. But if I had a doctor like her, she sat there and she's like, you know what? She goes, I don't like looking at BMI. She goes, I think that is incorrect. She's
Hmm.
like, I think as long as you're not just sitting around doing nothing and eating junk food, you're active, you're doing this. She's like, who cares what that number, you're fine. That I'm not worried about it. Like if I'm not worried about it, you shouldn't be worried about it. Now she's like, if you told me you sat here in your room all day eating junk food and did nothing, then we'd have a talk. You know what I mean? But you're active and you should not, you know what I mean? And that's the stuff that worries me as a
Hmm.
mom, because that's the age and it starts to get,
Right.
and that's why I'm like, and that's the other thing is she had said to me, she goes, my 12-year-old said to me, she goes, I just wish I could be more like Lizzo because she's so confident and loves herself.
Wow.
So
The
all these
12 year
people
old.
that want to hate on Lizzo, you guys need to stop and really think about what kind of message she really is sending. Because if my 12-year-old girl says
Mm,
that, that's powerful. That
that
is
is
so powerful,
amazing.
you know? And it's true. We need more women to be more confident and bring that positivity and just and show that confidence so that girls like us, hey, there's someone out there who's like our body shape and they're on top of the world, and
Oh yeah.
normalize it.
Woo.
Normalize it.
Normalize booty. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please. Normalize it. Just, normalize being
Jessica says
healthy.
stomach and thick thighs.
Just normalize being healthy. And it's hard because we do get into that, mindset of body image because we were teased so much that we feel like we have to maintain and we have to
Mhm.
look a certain way, even though we know we really don't have to, but our mind is just playing with us so hard.
Yeah.
It's like a tug of war. I'm constantly in a tug of war in here, on top of the anxiety and on top of the depression. So look, if man,
Yes.
thick
Yes, there
thighs
are
save a gal,
shirts. There are shirts that say that. Yes, ma'am. I was
you
I
know.
was sitting here trying to remember. I don't think I the first number I remember
Mhm,
weighing on the scale was 165. I was a senior in high school and still dancing. I mean,
mhm.
I was like had just started maybe sophomore year, freshman sophomore year. But that was the first number I remember, 165. And
Yeah,
I didn't feel no way around it. It
yeah.
was that was just a number, but I
And there's
remember
some
every
women who can
time
do that.
but every time I had a new ID or somebody would ask how much, I was still trying to write 165. And it's like, no, baby, not anymore.
I'll eventually weigh what my driver's license says.
Eventually, well, no, mine is accurate,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
still,
mine
but
is not.
remember,
It's so not
I
accurate.
remember I was holding on to that number. And
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I remember trying to hold on to that number. And
Yeah.
at some point it was like,
Yeah.
you can't, no.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. Flip the 6 because it is now a 9.
Yep.
And this is where you
My little brother was affected by this in high school days and had it. Yeah, it affects boys too. It's not just
Mhm.
exclusive to girls.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority you'll see are girls that struggle
Yeah.
with it. But like I said, when I was in rehab for it, we had boys in there.
And I'm sure a lot of boys that are involved in sports, deal with this as well.
Oh my
Because
God,
if you're
yes.
not playing football, where
Right.
being bigger, is
And wrestling, football and
celebrated,
wrestling.
or wrestling, or what was the other one? I don't know, but any other sport,
Hmm.
they are expecting you to be slimmer. You're
Right.
playing basketball,
Right.
soccer,
Right.
baseball. They're
Boys.
expecting you to be slimmer,
Yeah.
because you
And
have to run and move and jump and all of that.
yeah.
But football and wrestling, get as
But
big as.
that's no, you can't even
Oh,
do that.
boxing. That was the other one because you have to weigh in. You
You
have to
have to
get to
wait.
a
You have to,
certain weight class
yeah.
or go down to a certain weight
And that's
class.
the same for football and wrestling. You still have to
Mhm.
weigh in for those sports too. I
That's
mean,
right.
Jess has boys that do both football and wrestling, and
Mhm.
and she said boys aren't vocal about it
No.
because that's what society has taught us. That is what society has taught our boys. Like,
Mm,
keep it to yourself, and that's not okay. I know Jess doesn't do that. Jess is like, okay, boys, you know what I mean? Like, you
mhm,
open your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, she raises her boys right. And it's very, it's like a ticking time bomb sometimes. It's a very yeah. And boys, God, I wish we can start to normalize them being more vocal about their feelings and stuff like that, because we need to normalize that too in society. Please, gentlemen, open your mouths. Tell us how you feel. Go ahead and cry. It's okay. It does not make you any less of a man. And people need to stop saying that. Feel your feelings. Feel your feelings. Then you know
Feel
what I'm
your
saying?
feelings.
Anyways. But that's my story. That's what I have. I mean, you guys, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. If you have questions afterwards, reach out to us, and um, we'll answer what we can. So,
Awesome. Thank you,
but now
Chris.
you've got a heavy topic.
Ah, yes. We're still talking about teenagers.
Yes.
Mostly for this majority of this show.
Hmm.
Thank you, Bryson. Thank you, Melissa. So we
Thank
are
you. Thank
moving
you.
on to the next awareness day for February. It is Teen Dating Violence Awareness.
Thank you, Melissa.
Teen dating violence awareness, also
Yes.
called relationship abuse. But this is physical, sexual, psychological, or emotional abuse within a dating relationship among adolescents.
Mm.
Somewhere else, I found stalking is also
Oh.
an added word to this definition. It impacts lifelong health, opportunities, and well being. It affects unhealthy relationships, and they can start very early and last a lifetime if you're
Mm-hmm.
involved in an abusive situation as a teen. I want to give you some statistics.
Mm.
I'm gonna start with the statistics because the last one is probably the biggest eye opener for parents.
Okay.
Parents, if you listen, stay right there so you can get some
Don't move.
perspective. Do not move. 1 in 3 adolescents in the U.S. is a victim of physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner. One in
One in
three.
three.
1 in 3 is
Oh,
a victim, not will be a victim, not could
is.
be a victim, is a
Oh,
victim.
wow.
This exceeds the rates of any other youth violence recorded. One
Wow.
in three. 1 out of 10 high school students experience physical violence in a dating relationship. 1 in 10.
Wow.
That is not specific to male or female.
Okay.
25% of high school girls have experienced physical abuse, sexual abuse, or date rape. That is a quarter of
That's a
high school.
high number.
25%.
Wow.
25% of high school girls
Wow.
have experienced physical abuse, sexual abuse, or
Wow.
date rape.
Wow.
Only 1/3 of youth experiencing dating violence told anyone about the abuse. So if you
I
think
believe
about how
that.
high these numbers are, only a
Yeah,
third of
that's
are coming forward. 1 in 4 dating teens are abused
wow.
or um, online or via text by their partners.
Wow.
I think I froze.
No,
Did I freeze?
no. Did the tabs freeze? Because you're good. no.
So 1 in 4 dating teens are abused online or via text by their partners.
Wow.
I thought that was interesting because we didn't have access to online and text
Mm-mm.
and social media
Can you
and
imagine if we
cyberbullying.
did?
Can
Oh my
you imagine? We
God.
didn't grow up with that. We
I
didn't grow
can't
up.
imagine if we did.
Now here's that
Oh
last one.
God.
This last statistic. Parents,
Whew, I'm getting my tea ready.
think about all of these other statistics I just gave you.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 3, 1 in 10, 25%, only 1/3 comes forward. 1 in 4 dating teens being abused. 81% of parents believe teen dating violence is not an issue.
Oh my God.
81%. Watch your mouth, Bryson. I see. She said we
Mm.
telling our age now. Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't
Listen,
have cell phones. We didn't have computers at home
I'm
until I don't even remember how old I was until I got a computer at home.
81% of
81% of
parents believe
parents
it does
believe
not exist.
teen dating violence is not an issue. I just told you 1 in 3 adolescents is a
Mm.
victim. 1 in 10 have experienced violence. 25% of high school girls. I just gave you these numbers. 81% of parents believe this is not an issue. Whew.
Ooh, wow. That. Hmm.
I want to let that marinate for a minute. Um, I want to give you some early warning signs of abuse. And then I'm going to give you some other signs of teen dating violence, but early warning signs of abuse. Love bombing.
Mm.
If you're familiar with narcissism and you've seen
Mm-hmm.
our shows, any of our shows, mine, Bryce's, whatever, we've talked about
Or
narcissism
read
at
Angel's
length.
book.
Or read what book? This
Is
book?
what that book? The book
This
that
book?
I have. Yes.
This one? This one right here? Yeah, or read that book. Um, Love bombing is one of the first
Mm-hmm.
characteristics of a narcissist in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Showering you with gifts, excessive compliments, spending all this time, spending money, flowers,
Mm-hmm.
candy, whatever. All of this, all of this affection,
Mm-hmm.
very quickly, very
Yes.
early.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the warning signs. It happens really fast.
Yep.
You just got together. Now y'all girlfriend and boyfriend already.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting to know somebody, and he's bringing you presents.
Yeah.
And no, you just met this guy. So love bombing, in those types of relationships. Moving the goalpost. This is the second early warning sign of abuse. Moving the goalpost. I love you if you love me, you would.
Oh,
I feel like,
girl,
I'm not getting enough this. It just keeps moving. You
you
have
are
to do
bringing.
more. You have to give more. You have to show
Mhm.
more. Um, the third one, isolating you.
You just dug up some trauma that I.
I'm so
Oof.
sorry. So sorry. We have a
I
session
ain't doing
later.
that one.
Um,
Oof.
isolating you. You can only spend time with me. We're not double dating. It's just me. You can come to my house. I can come to your house. Why are you hanging out with your friends? Why do you have to go to the
Yes.
mall
Yes.
today? You're always with your sister. Why can't we spend time alone, isolating you? So you're not spending time with your family and friends because you're always with her or with him. Why?
Mhm. Mhm.
The last one, owning you. They're very possessive and taking ownership. You're my girlfriend. You can't talk to anybody else. You can't have any other
Mhm.
friends. You know,
Wow.
have we heard this before?
Yes. Yes, and not
You
just for
sit
me,
with
but
me. You sit with me. You ride with
yeah,
me. You wait for me.
yeah. Well,
No.
remember I was telling you about one of the high school youth I used to work with who was in a relationship with a boy. I think it was their freshman sophomore year. She's still with that boy. I think freshman year. It was freshman year. She's still with that boy. He's checked all of those boxes you've just said.
Mm.
And her mom does not see it. So she checks off that other box.
81%. Yeah,
Yep.
81% don't think
Wow.
parents don't think teen dating violence is an issue. So
Mm.
they're part of those statistics. All right,
Mm-mm.
so let me give you 10 warning signs, top 10 warning signs of teen dating violence. Number 1, using insults, intimidation, or humiliation.
Mm.
I can't for the life of me understand how someone can claim to care for you and humiliate you publicly
Mm-hmm.
or make you feel less than or
Yep.
intimidate you. You're walking on eggshells with the person you're supposed to be closest to. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number 2, extreme jealousy, insecurity, or controlling behavior. What's the theme of the show?
Taking
Taking
control.
control. You have
Mhm.
somebody that has to be in control. They tell you what to wear. They tell you how to wear your hair. I really don't like when you talk to your teacher after class. Extreme
Yeah.
jealous. Just
Yeah.
pick anything. He's my.
Yeah.
I saw you talking to that lady. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's extreme jealousy. Extreme is the word. Insecurity. That was the other word. You have to pump them up all the time.
Yeah.
Number 3, isolation. We just saw that on the other list. Isolation from friends and family. Why
Mm-hmm.
are they keeping you to their self?
Right.
You don't have anybody to go to. You start pushing people out. When you
Yeah.
need some help, you don't have a circle.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, unwanted sexual contact of any kind.
Mm.
I saw that flashback. Of any
Mm.
kind. Unwanted
Mm.
sexual contact of any kind. No, I don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't want to do that there. No, I don't
Mm.
want you to do that there.
Yeah.
So part of taking control is setting those boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and those expectations of respect. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, explosive temper or unusual moodiness. You shouldn't have to
Mm.
regulate anybody else's emotions.
Right.
It's hard enough trying to regulate our own.
No shit.
Cannot
Mm.
be responsible for for somebody else's temper. Somebody
Mm.
having they going off on you for what
Mm.
reason?
Yeah. Right.
Number 6, constantly monitoring social media activities or location. Again, we didn't grow up,
We didn't grow up with that. Thank
Bryson.
God.
We didn't grow up with tabs, people keeping tabs on
No.
you. But think about the location. Can you imagine having to share? I'm not
No.
trying to get you in trouble, but can you imagine having a husband that requires you to have your location on your phone all the time?
I.
He has to know where you are every time you leave the house.
Mm-mm.
I'm.
I can't. No.
Why are we doing this?
Why?
So, as an adult
Mm.
woman, you those feelings you just had. Can you
Right.
imagine being a 15-year-old girl and someone telling you that I have to know where you are? I need to know
Yeah.
social media activities or location. Who were you in the picture with? Ooh, don't tag
Right.
nobody.
Oh yeah. Don't.
Don't tag nobody. Whose house was that you were at? My mama's house. I'm at home.
Yeah.
Lots of questions. Number 7, invasions of privacy, showing up unannounced. Can you imagine a young man coming to your door looking for Monica, and she doesn't know anyone is coming, and there's no pre-approved visit taking place? I'm here to see Monica. The hell you are.
Exit stage left. Bye-bye.
People checking up on your whereabouts. No, invasions of privacy. They have to know your password.
Oh yeah, no.
They need to be able to get into your phone, your TikTok, your what's the Whoosy app, your Facebook, whatever. What's the young people? Instagram, Twitter.
Snapchat.
They need your passwords. Snappy chat. They need your passwords.
Yeah.
Okay. They need to know where you are. They need to have access to your.
No.
Number 8, leaving unwanted items, gifts, or flowers. That's just like showing up unannounced.
Wow.
Unwanted items, gifts, or flowers. 9, abusing alcohol or drugs. Big red flag. Huge red flag. Somebody that's using substances is not thinking clearly.
We actually just got an email from the high school that teen vaping has gone up tremendously.
Oh my goodness. I watched a whole episode about teen vaping on Netflix. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember what the documentary was. I don't know if it was Unwell or it was one of those. It was one of those. I'll have to look it up. But there's a whole episode, and it's from the principal's perspective.
Okay.
And he was telling the story about the how it has risen. Kids going to the washroom in the middle of class and being gone for 20-25 minutes. There was a washroom in the school where people would go and they would have pillows and comforters and blankets, and they're just sitting in there vaping during school time. Comforters, blankets, pillows. They are camped out in the bathroom passing the vape. And all these flavors that they're coming in, and they were comparing it to the campaigns when cigarettes came out, and how they had the young models and the hip, cool people in all of the ads and the commercials, and they had to take that off TV because it looked like they were promoting teen smoking. It was the same with the vaping ads. They had to take off those, but then they're making them in cool colors, and they're coming in these crazy flavors. You can go get it at the gas station.
Yeah, it's just too easily accessible.
But the point of the documentary was to show how it's more addictive than cigarettes, because they think it's not harmful.
Right.
It's not an issue. And again, flavors, colors, access. You don't have to be a certain age to purchase this.
Right.
Whew.
Wow.
All right. Number 10, threatening or causing physical violence, scratches, bruises. Those were the top 10 warning signs of teen dating violence. But 81% of parents don't believe it's an issue.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Even just one of these warning signs means there's a risk of teen dating violence, and you or the person experiencing this needs help. Even just one of these 10.
Wow.
Means you are in danger. You in danger.
You in danger, girl.
You in danger. Okay. So how do we stop it? Because we always have to go there. How do we stop it?
We need to know.
The first tip is to know the signs. I just gave you 10 plus 4. Okay. Knowing the signs.
Jess just said her boyfriend is in danger.
Not that boyfriend. Don't tell on yourself, girl. The first tip is knowing the signs. You have to know what to look for. You have to know what these red flags are. You need to know this information. Two, talking to your teen.
Yes.
Because clearly 81% of parents don't believe teen
Yeah.
dating violence is an issue. I'm keep saying that. Oh, Jessica. Okay.
Jessica. You are
Oh
not.
my goodness. So talking to your teen. Who still has dinner conversations?
On occasion, we actually do, believe
I
it or
mean, but
not.
you
When we're
sit,
all
but you
together.
probably have more conversations in the car, but you're having conversation. They talk about their day. They're not allowed to give you one word answers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of households aren't doing this.
Yeah. Because too busy.
They're too busy. Everybody's in a different room.
Mhm.
Everybody has a device in their hand.
Yeah.
Or they're in front of somebody's screen, right?
Yeah.
Or they're at work.
Yeah.
I have students who walk home, let themselves in, fix their own dinner, do homework. Mom comes home, dad comes home, and it's bedtime. And they're back up in the morning at 6 something and at the school at 7:30.
Yeah.
When was the conversation?
Right.
You have no idea what's going on in your kids' lives if you're doing that. None.
Do it before bedtime. That's when I can get their full attention.
That's good.
Right, Jess, because you're not going to let them sleep until they tell you how their day was.
And that's critical. And that's critical. But it's not enough parents out here that are having those conversations, especially with a taboo topic is dating.
Yeah.
Okay, because for the most part, if you're a father, you don't want to hear it. Anybody dating? You're not old enough to date. Guess what?
Yeah,
They're doing it anyway.
They're doing it anyway.
They're
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
it anyway, and you saying no is not gonna. They're not gonna do that.
That's reverse psychology. You say no, they're gonna do it.
Oh, I had a parent tell me about 2 months ago that he's raised his girls by the wait, let me count them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, by the 7 B's. Books before boys because boys bring babies. And I had to tell him, your 10-year-old is already looking at boys.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. No, she was 9 at the time. She's already looking at boys. She got a little boyfriend in the classroom.
Oh Lord.
He was, oh my God. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I remember my crushes from grade school. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I graduated at 12. So yeah, I remember my crushes in grade school. It starts way earlier.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does.
Way earlier than
way
you
earlier.
think.
Yeah.
And the answer is not, no, you can't date.
Right.
No, you're not old enough, because it's gonna happen anyway.
Hell, Monica had her first crush in kindergarten. Monica had her first crush in kindergarten. They were holding hands under the table. I'm like, okay.
I kissed a boy in first grade.
Oh, good Lord.
You know what I'm telling you? I kissed a boy.
Oh, that's a lot, because that would be
walk right up to him in the line.
You're like, yeah.
First grade. That means I was 7. You know, 6 maybe 7.
6.
I don't know,
6.
right? So
6.
I'm just saying, things happen. We have to have have to have healthy conversations about healthy boundaries and rules. And those restrictions and expectations. There has to be conversation about it. So if you're not talking to your teen, they don't know what the expectations are. They just out there. Wow. Okay. Number 3, keep a journal. This is most likely for the person that is dating.
Yes.
And the first place my mind went to is receipts. You better have accounts, dates. When did this happen? She called my house. She showed up unannounced. She left a box on my doorstep. She sent me letters in the mail. Because if you ever need to press charges, okay, because we talked about stalking very briefly, but if you ever need to press charges or file a restraining order or get the police involved or the school involved or so, and number 4 is getting the school involved, you better have a record.
Right.
A record of activity on what has transpired.
Easier now than it was back then, because now we have camera phones.
Oh, we got receipts.
We got receipts.
Absolutely.
Back in our day, it would have been a lot more difficult to prove it. It would be a lot of he said, she said. A lot of that.
Now we can record things. You can put
Mm-hmm.
that phone in your pocket and have a whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it might not be admissible in court because they didn't know they were being recorded. But if this
Right.
is a situation where you in danger, yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
That's your proof.
Right.
That's your proof.
Yeah.
So some of the resources that we have for you are the National Teen Dating Abuse Helpline,
Mm-hmm.
866-331-9474. National Teen Dating Abuse Helpline, 866-331-9474. Um, and they are sponsored by the loveisrespect.org.
Love
There's
is
and
respect.
they are 24/7 text, phone, and then live chat for anybody that needs them. There's also Break the Cycle organization, breakthecycle.org, if you're looking for help. Or again, the crisis text line, 741-741. It's a crisis, right?
Yes.
Doesn't matter what kind. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Martha. Thank you for
Thank
posting
you.
that.
The crisis text line, 741-741. Any crisis, suicide, bullying,
Mhm.
dating violence, any kind of abuse, 741-741. NoMore.org. Interesting
No more.
story about NoMore.org.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they post a lot of information, especially on Instagram. I see a lot of their information on Instagram. Um, the National Florida Council Against Sexual Abuse or Sexual Violence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did a training video a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
for someone who had experienced sexual violence many years prior, and was now married with a husband, older lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the social worker in the video, and she was calling the crisis line. And
Mm.
she just had these memories. She kept thinking about it. And her husband's on the floor next to him. He's like, it happened so long ago. Why are you still dealing with this?
Oh
You know,
man.
this still bothers you. And it's typical,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to walk her through some breathing exercises and some things like that. But it just reminded me of how our childhood trauma comes back if
And
it's not
at the
treated
most random times.
random time. But she
At the
hadn't
most
been
random
sleeping.
times.
You know, this was
Yeah.
part of the script that she hadn't been sleeping, and she just keeps saying his face. She keeps saying his face, and
Mm.
she knows he's not there, but she keeps saying his face. And the husband's like, I don't know what to do. At some point, he just walked out. You
Mm.
know, and it was just me and her on the phone, and she's like, I don't know what to, you know, I feel so bad for him. It's not his fault. You know,
Right.
I just get so anxious, and even though it was a script and a video, this is a training video that they use for their counselors at their conferences. So people in
Wow.
Florida are looking at my face on the screen. Um,
A
and
beautiful
it's,
face it is.
well, that's thank you so much. Thank you so much. But it just is it's a reminder about
Mm-hmm.
childhood trauma and
Yeah.
how it's I mean this woman had gray hair, white hair, blonde hair. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
how many decades can
Right.
pass that you're still being affected by something that happened as when you were a teenager,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
to the point where it's affecting your marriage now,
Yeah.
you know, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. So when we talk about you know, it's over, you know, stop thinking about it, already happened, you know, let it go.
Yeah.
No, this is something that has to be treated. So these resources that we're
Yeah.
giving you will also direct you to other programs, other types of therapy, counselors, when if you need someone to talk to, so that you can start that healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches, counselors, therapists, whatever it is that fits your need, they can
Mm-hmm.
direct you. The No More org was the other one. NoMore.org. BreakTheCycle.org, LoveIsRespect.org, NoMore.org. Um, those are all places that people can go.
And I did want to just piggyback off of the 741-741. You can text NEDA, NEDA, if you are in crisis for an eating disorder or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is, it's on their website as well. So there's lots of resources
Yes.
available. And wow,
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. I'm still stuck on the 81% of
I,
parents who
I
don't.
keep coming back
I'm
to it. I keep
still
going
stuck
back
on
to it.
that.
As many statistics as we've talked about tonight, that is the one that should stick out the most to you.
Goodness
81%
gracious.
of parents believe teen dating violence is not an issue. I just told you 1 in 3 adolescents, 1 in 10 high school students, 25% of all high school girls have been abused some kind of way.
That's crazy.
We don't pay enough attention, and we don't take it seriously.
Right.
And we
That's the
don't ask enough
problem.
questions. We don't
That's
ask
the
enough
problem. We
questions.
don't take it seriously.
Mm.
And we start it in childhood. He's
Mhm.
hitting you because he likes you.
Oh, all day long I hear that. All day long I hear that. Little boys put their
The
hands on
little
you because
boy,
they
yep,
like
because they like you.
you. He like
Why?
you. That's why
Why
he's
do
doing
we
it. Why
why?
is this okay? Or for
Why is
her, it's
this
the
okay?
same.
Yeah.
She keep hitting me. It's just because she
That's
like
because
you.
she likes you. No, that
We
is
have to
not.
teach another way
Yes,
to show
exactly.
affection,
Yes. Yes.
because physical violence clearly is a problem.
You think?
Okay. So we talked about
Perhaps
a
that's
lot of
probably why 81% of parents don't think it's
don't think
okay.
it's a problem because they're teaching this mess at home, right?
Yeah.
Or because that's how you've
That's how they
been
were taught.
raised.
Yeah.
That's how you've been raised.
I just
So
tell
we
my girls, any boy puts their hands on you, you whip out that karate and kick their butts. I don't care what
listen,
it. You
black
do
belts in the house. Call your sister, okay?
that.
So we talked a lot about red flags tonight in
Whew.
relationships, and among teenagers, and even with food disorders, eating
Mhm.
disorders. Talked a lot about red flags. Let's talk about some green flags.
Yay.
So our last topic, we always gonna leave you on a positive note.
Of course.
Our last topic for the night is relationship wellness awareness. This was part of February as well. Relationship wellness. We've all enjoyed Valentine's Day. This is
Yes.
just like a corner of my house. My whole house is Valentine, right?
Yes.
Pop over to my Instagram and check that out. I put my
She did a
video.
whole video. She did a
Oh,
whole video.
every season, I change the decor. I put a video up. So you can pop over to Angel Loves Great Design on Instagram, and you can see the rest of the ambiance of Valentine's Day. But green flags. I wanted to give you some green flags for relationship wellness tips. And then I have 7 tips for a good relationship wellness. And then Chrissy's gonna give us some tips from real life
Okay.
experience. She's gonna
Sure.
give us some tips as
Yes.
well, because they're celebrating over in the Johnston house. So we'll come back to Chris. All right. So green flags, that your relationship is healthy. You're equally invested.
Mhm.
Okay. You know how to fight fairly. I had to
That's a tough
learn that.
one.
I had to learn that one because
Yeah.
I keep ammunition. I got it. I got it.
Yes.
You say the wrong thing, I'm gonna pull something. Remember this?
Remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it out. No. I had to learn how to fight fair. You focus on gratitude. Also, something that has to be learned. What are you grateful
Mhm.
for with your partner?
Mhm.
What are you grateful um, that they bring in your life? That's good.
Mhm.
You understand what sex means to each other.
Definitely still learning now.
It don't say you did it. It just say you understand. Say you understand. I understand. You want more of that.
I understand. However,
I understand. I understand.
I have a caveat.
I understand. That's
Oh
all it
god.
says. You
I understand.
understand
I
what
understand.
sex means to each other. That means you should also understand it. Anyway, um, you face
Exactly, Jess. I understand, but
you face adversity as a team. Very important. My
Yes.
challenge is not my challenge by myself. If I'm dealing with something, we're dealing with something because you got to deal with me. If I'm dealing with something, you got to deal with me.
So
So
may
you
as well
might
just
want to
jump in the
jump
boat.
in. You might want to tag yourself into this fight, right?
Yeah.
This is how we fight fairly because I can't be in here by myself. Last tip, you nurture your individuality. We are not the same. Not the same. We don't think the same. We don't act the same. We don't have the same experiences. We did not grow up in the same house.
Nope.
Okay. We don't have the same mannerisms. I don't like what you eating. You nurture your individuality. I would told this story before on another show. I remember going out to eat with that dude.
That dude.
He's very particular about what he has on his sandwiches,
Okay.
and at some point I started ordering my sandwiches, burgers, whatever, like what he ate, because
Oh, I
he
remember this
you got to
story.
bite you got to
Yes.
bite my sandwich, I'm bite your
Yeah.
food, we sharing food.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wouldn't get anything on my sandwich that he didn't like because he want to
Right.
bite on my
Yeah.
sandwich.
Yep.
And I just remember one day just going off in Burger King, like, I want a Whopper, like I want a Whopper. I want all, I just want a Whopper. I don't want no dry ass meat. I just went off. And he's like,
Like,
get your
okay.
Whopper, and we had to have a conversation later. It's like, I've been getting my Whopper with just cheese and lettuce because you don't like,
Yeah, because you don't like A, B,
you
and
don't
C,
like
but I
mayonnaise,
do.
you don't
Yeah.
want ketchup, you don't want nothing. I don't want no dry sandwich. So then it evolved into, well, I'm going to get this. So you won't be able to bite on my sandwich. I just need to tell you that. Or we're sitting in the restaurant and it's like, that's not what I want today. You might want to get what you want to get because you ain't gonna be able to bite on my food. But I remember that he never asked me to do that. Never had he asked me to do that. But I had evolved into this person
Yeah.
that was accommodating, and didn't want no drama. Because if I did
Right.
get a burger like I wanted a burger, and he's like, ugh, what you got on there? Ugh, you got mayonnaise on it. It's like, shut up, but that's what
Yeah.
it became. But nurturing your individuality means, guess what? We're going to order something different.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be okay with that.
Right.
I'm going to be okay with that. You're going to be okay with that. We
Right.
can share dessert,
There
but
you go.
we ain't
Yeah.
eating this. We ain't sharing this burger.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't that serious, but I made it a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was an expectation. It had never
Yeah.
been discussed. Which goes to our next 7 tips for relationship wellness. The very first tip, good communication. Had we had conversation about this setup in the restaurant, maybe it wouldn't have been a fight in Burger King.
Right. Right.
He never had those expectations, but I also was going off of his reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I get it like I want it. You got a problem, so let me whatever. Let me do something else so there's no issue.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize how much of an issue that was because it wasn't just happening in Burger King. It was happening everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere we went to eat, and we ate a lot.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went to eat, I ordered what he liked.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be no tension at the table. Everywhere. Yeah. It was not just a Whopper. Okay. It was everywhere. So good communication is the first relationship wellness tip. Number 2, the right amount of sex. I feel like that's subjective.
What exactly is the right amount? Like,
and there are no brothers to chime in. So,
where is that written? The right
amount of sex?
Because your right amount is definitely different than my right amount.
Goes back to good communication. Because for some of us, once a week is perfectly fine.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
once a week,
define right amant.
Jessica,
you know what? This is not the right person.
Log off. No,
this girl.
You said the bad example.
The stories that I've heard from her, good Lord, she's not the right person to ask.
All the time.
She's not the right person.
Week. maybe twice. And I do say I say that, I live alone, so it's very different. And I very
Yeah.
much so enjoy living alone in my solitude. I will entertain company once a week. It would be different if I was married, I'm sure. It might
Not
be twice a week.
really.
It might be twice a week. But
Or month. I mean, it's all
you know,
semantics.
the right amount of sex, and at the
Good
same
grief.
time, different people produce different results.
I mean, that's true.
Because there may have been other people in other times where it was all the time, but not necessarily right now. Or it might have been certain seasons in my life where it was all the time and anywhere, but
Yeah.
not right now. So the right amount of sex. Yes, good communication is going to have to determine what that right
Yeah,
amount.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
Number 3, inside jokes.
Oh,
I was
oh my
surprised to
God.
see that one.
We have so many of those.
We
Oh
have
God.
so
So
many,
many.
so many inside jokes. I think that definitely keeps the fun.
It
That's what I
does.
thought. That keeps the fun and the humor in the relationship. If you can look at
Especially
somebody
when you do it
across
in
the
front of the
table,
kids. Especially when you do it in front of the kids and they're just like, oh my God, what are you talking about? It's like, don't worry about it. Just
mind
don't
your
worry about
business.
it. Mind your business.
But I being able to sit across the table from somebody and make some eyes and not have to say nothing, and y'all just fall out laughing. Listen,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
Important. Or you can send a text and they know exactly what it makes sense to nobody but you two.
Exactly.
Nobody but you two. Okay.
Mhm.
Number 4, promises that are kept.
Follow through. Go figure.
I
Follow
believe
through,
that could lead
basically.
to the right amount of sex.
You
Promises
know what?
are kept. I think there's a direct correlation
There
between
is.
keeping your
Quite
promises
honestly. Yes.
and what's going on somewhere else in the house.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Number 5, 2 partners who don't take each other for granted.
That's super important.
You get used to seeing somebody all the time,
Mm-hmm.
they are not a priority.
That is true.
And that goes back to their first list with focusing on gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not taking each other for granted. Number 6, quality time together and shared interest. That means I'm not going to force you to watch Disney musicals.
Oh, I totally am.
Because that is not necessarily a shared interest, but we will watch comedies. We will watch action movies.
Tell
We will
Vicky to buy Taylor French. Shut up.
Uh-oh. That's his
Jess, now you're
inside
causing
joke.
trouble. Now
That's his
you're
inside.
causing trouble. Oh my God.
What are
You
your
guys got to go back to that sipping and tripping
oh
episode.
my
That was
gosh.
crazy. That
So
was
you
crazy. That
definitely
was
have to
wild.
develop those shared interests. So what is it that you enjoy doing together? Because those other things you might have to do with your friends
Mhm.
or your coworkers or your family or your kids, maybe not your partner. What are your shared interests with your partner? Is it a vacation? Yes. Might not be a cruise though, because you ain't gonna have me on a
You
boat in the
know
middle of the
what?
water.
Why do you have to go there?
Listen, I'm black, Chrissy. Don't be putting me on a boat in the middle of the water. It's some stuff. Let's talk about some trauma. There's some ethnic
Oh,
trauma. I don't even know racial trauma. No,
you.
we're not gonna be on no cruise. No. So it's some things that I might not want to do. What are our shared interests?
Good Lord.
Or we can vacation, but I
You're
don't
gonna
like
be sitting by the pool drinking drinks. You won't even know. It
I
won't
don't like the
even.
heat though. So vacation means what's the temperature? Where we going? I got questions. Shared interest, quality time together, emphasis on quality.
You know what? And that is my love language. Quality
Quality
time is
time,
my love language.
emphasis on quality.
Hmm.
Quality
Yeah.
time is right here on this couch under the fish tank watching a movie with dessert.
Yeah.
Foot rub. Check.
Ooh. Back scratches.
Check. This is quality time.
And that leads back to number anyway. Go
Listen,
ahead.
it goes back to that is a directly correlates to
Directly correlates to number 2.
Just say it. Just say it.
I mean,
last on the list, the desire to make your partner a priority.
yes.
That starts with your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think a relationship is for? What is the purpose of a relationship? Oh, speaking of that, if you're trying to figure out the purpose of relationships, you might want to invest in a little reading material. Love's Great Design, Uncovering the Power and Purpose of Human Relationships. By me.
Eye-opening.
And this one. Mm-hmm. This one too. You might want to look into that. But what is what purpose does your relationship serve? Mm-hmm. Once you get that answer, you can figure out how you're going to make your partner a priority.
Ooh, that's a lot of tips.
It is. I didn't take nearly as long as Crissy. However, Crissy is going to wrap.
What?
She's going to wrap us up. Oh, wait. Before you do your last tips, did you want to do the media?
Oh, I only had one.
You had more than one.
Why did I have more than one?
Okay, our media,
our
watch list and read list.
I only had one movie.
You had 2 movies.
What was the other movie?
Secret
that's right. Friends. I forget, what was it? Yeah, Secret Between Friends, and then the other one.
Fear.
Fear. Yes. See, I go back to the 90s with my movies.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I'm just saying the 90s was the best decade, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. Speaking of the 90s, I'm plugging, I'm going to be doing a little shameless plug here.
Plug it.
Next Saturday, for those of you in the Schaumburg area or not in the Schaumburg area, if you're looking for a night out for quality time with your significant other or a girl's night out, a guy's night out, whatever, we will have B-Side Theater is presenting The Realness at the Schaumburg Prairie Center for the Arts next Saturday, the 25th, and the show starts at 6:30. Tickets can be found on bsidestudios.net. Awesome. And it is a very special show because this is also the last show that Maurice is going to direct. He is transitioning himself to being just a producer after this one, but it's one he's been wanting to do because hip hop turned 50 this year.
Woo! Did it ever?
And so this story is set in the 90s era of hip hop, which was, in my opinion, the best.
Good. That's gonna be good.
We have great cast. We've been working really hard. So next Saturday, February 25th, in Schaumburg, 6:30 p.m. The Realness. Tickets at bsidestudios.net. Awesome. And that's my little plug for that. My little segue from talking about the 90s. You see how I did that?
So your watch list was A Secret Between Friends and Fear. I remember that movie. My read list. I am plugging my bestie, Relationship Ready. Hey, bestie. LeanzarStockley.com has a book called Relationship Ready. You're eager, but is your heart prepared? He also has a book called Relationality. Yes. Consciously aligning to our divine relational worth. So I'm plugging LeanzarStockley.com.
And you need to see him in some Hoochie Daddy shorts because
just took all his credentials away down to the Hoochie Daddy shorts. And of course, if you're looking for your purpose in relationship, or trying to come back from an abusive relationship, Targeted Love, Surviving Narcissistic Abuse, is a good blueprint for you.
Yes, and that's
all right. So
AngelSimmons.com.
AngelSimmons.com. And Crissy's gonna give us some real life experience, married grown folk relationship wellness tips. The
Well,
real stuff. This the real deal.
listen,
Vic, you still on here? I don't
I
think he
know
is.
if it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Vic is still on here. He's probably
I think he would have.
ducked
I
out.
think he would have had something to say a long time ago if he was here.
He would have ducked. He probably ducked out when I started talking about sex. Anyway,
He
uh,
asked.
so Monday. So Vic and I are that cheesy couple that still celebrates the anniversary of their first date.
No, you're not. You ain't the only one.
Okay, well, we're not. Okay, good. So Monday the 20th will be our 20-year anniversary of our first date.
Woo-wee!
That's what I keep saying. Like, damn. Like 20, I don't know, 20 years since we went on our first date. And that is like, wow. And then next year in 2024 will be 20 years of marriage. So we had a lot of 20s coming up.
Double up.
So all I could say is definitely therapy. Therapy in a relationship, and it's a lot of work. It comes back to communication. I will tell you, and Vic will tell you, I'm still not great at communication. I'm really not, because of just like past traumas of not being able to really speak up for myself, or speaking up for myself and it getting slammed down or getting yelled at or whatever. So I still have a hard time with that, but I've gotten better, trying to anyway. But yeah, it's a lot of work trying not to throw in the towel when you're having a hard time, because you're going to go through a lot of hard times. And, if we threw in the towel every time we had a hard time, good Lord, we would never find ourselves in a committed relationship. You know what I mean? It would be like, all right, well, it was fun, but we can't do this anymore. And just, a lot of the tips that you shared, it really, that's really it. I mean, the quality time for sure. Quality time is so important, especially if you got kids, because that's a big part of it. And that's something I learned. Once you have kids, especially as a woman, as a mother, you lose your identity. You don't know who you are anymore, because now you're just a wife and a mother. And it's not like just a wife and a mother, but that's what you're viewed as.
How do you get quality time, just wife time, when you have kids?
So I'll be honest, like sometimes just taking a trip to Costco. Sometimes just going to the grocery store. I mean,
Home Depot is foreplay. So
weird.
I understand Costco.
You get Costco then. Yes. Okay, good.
Sam's Club for me. But
either one, a Costco, Sam's Club, just
Bed Bath and Beyond. Beyond. But I understand. Yes.
Those little things.
The little things.
Those little things. And laughter. Laughter is like, so Roger Rabbit, again, I'm going back to the 90s. When
I feel like you live there.
I really wish I could go like transport myself, but when they asked Jessica Rabbit, what do you like about Roger Rabbit? Oh, he makes me laugh. It's so important. And I think sometimes people
until it's annoying.
Well, certain times it can get annoying when you're just like not in the mood and they're pushing that button. It's like, okay, jokes, not today. Just not today. But 9 times out of 10, it's acceptable, but I think people don't really realize how important laughter is in a relationship, especially when you are someone who coexists with anxiety and depression. Having someone in your life.
I like how you put that. Coexist with anxiety.
Absolutely. I flipped that narrative a long time ago from struggling with to coexisting. Because the thing of it is, for me personally, and I know for many other people, you're never really going to be cured of anxiety and depression, but you're not always going to be struggling. You know what I mean? So you find that you just coexist with it. And yes, you're going to have your good days and your not so good days, but coexisting kind of takes away that negative connotation, I think, a bit
Definitely.
than struggling,
Definitely.
you know,
Mhm.
because it's just a part of who you are. It's a part of you, and learning how to live with it in a healthy way. But having a partner who can be that person to bring a smile to your face or say some cheesy joke and you're just like laughing, or the inside jokes and you're laughing. It is so important and so vital. You know what I mean? Like Vic will ask me, he goes, "What is it that you love about me? Like why, whatever." And I'm like, "You make me laugh." You
Mhm.
know, and that's not always his favorite answer. Like he wants me to say, "Oh, because you're like the hottest man on the planet." And it's like, but that's, you know what I mean? Like, first of all,
Tall,
that's
bald,
not,
and black. No.
he, you only checked 2 of the boxes, sir. 2 out of the 3 boxes. So I can't say that.
You had to be here. If you just caught that,
Yeah, if you just
it
need
was
to
a
catch
joke,
the replay on
inside
that
joke from
rewind.
earlier.
Inside joke. It is. But you know what I'm saying? But like the thing of it is, I need to, like, he doesn't realize how important that is to me as his partner. Like you being able to make me laugh on a daily basis is so important because it keeps me grounded. Like it keeps me present, it keeps me alive. You know what I mean? And it's hard because he's never really gone through like an anxiety depression thing, you know what I mean? Like he has his moments, but I don't know that he's ever really lived it like I have or
Yeah.
been immersed in it as long as I have. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's so important. It is so important, and that to me is like, you know, nothing to take for granted in a relationship. Yes, there's a time and place where it's like, okay, can you just not do that right now? Like we're like in a fine dining restaurant and
And he doesn't care.
maybe not make things dance on your plate. I don't know. But like just don't, we're good. But you know, like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's that's what's needed. And I think that goes for any relationship, because if it's always so serious, it's like, ugh, how boring.
How boring.
Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. And you know, making someone laugh, oh,
Directly correlates to
go back to number
right
2.
amount of sex.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know?
Because if I'm in a good mood, I'm more likely to
Exactly.
do in a good mood. You know?
You get it. Exactly. Right there. Right there.
Everybody's gonna be a comedian this year.
I'm just saying. A little bit of laughter, a little bit of back scratching. You never know what can happen
And
with
dessert.
that. So, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, but those are my, that's what I can come up with. And
awesome. Thank you for sharing your marital wisdom and experience. 20 years, almost 20 years of experience.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. We're still, and yeah.
You become a master at husbandry. No, that's something else.
Oh, wait.
It's different.
That's a different show.
Different. Bryson, where you at? That's
yeah, different. I'm like, wait a minute. Not the right host for this one.
No.
Not the right co-host for this one.
No, I don't think that was
obviously
the
the
word.
spectator on those shows.
I don't think that was a word, but you know what I meant. Woo! All right, well, first show.
Yes, first show of the second season. Whoop whoop. And next month we'll be back and with a whole new set of topics to talk to y'all about.
Whole new set of topics, whole new decorations. Probably go back over there. Different tea, new mugs. Tea. You know, hey.
And shout out to Martha for holding it down. Shout out to Martha, Double M, holding it down for us. Girl power tonight. I'm telling you.
I don't know where Maurice is. First show of the season.
He is busy making all the tech notes for the show next week. Lighting, sound, everything. He is busy. So realness next Saturday. Schaumburg. Get your tickets.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank y'all for joining us. We love you.
Excited. Yes, we love you.
And